said he's not going to shut off the car. So.
That's all right. Just keep going.
Whoa. Hey,
Get out of the car, man. You got a gun right there.
Whoa. There's rights to this. There are rights to this.
Do you have a concealed
There are rights there.
I will send this dog on you.
I will shoot you if you do.
Don't grab my gun.
You have rights.
Put your hand.
Gun ownership has been intertwined with the identity of America since the settlement of the 13 colonies. The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees Americans' right to keep and bear arms.
You have rights too. You have rights too.
Don't you dare.
You have rights. You can't
Don't you
shoot me
dare.
here. This is our Constitution. You know that. I will shoot you if this possible. That's a threat. So
First, asking Castile for his license and registration.
I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it, then.
I do not. You cannot. No, it is constitutionally owned.
The United States has a troubled legacy when it comes to protecting the lives of Black Americans. In 1868, the 14th Amendment was added to the U.S. Constitution to uphold the rights of African Americans. Sadly, this amendment has been overshadowed by an oppressive and violent history.
Don't reach for it, then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
Would this have happened if those passengers, the driver and the passenger were white? I don't think it would have.
He's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his.
I see that.
You have a concealed carry permit.
It's not concealed.
Yes, you
can
did.
see the weapon. It's right there.
Don't do it.
Okay. What are you afraid of?
Do it.
Don't do it.
I'm not doing anything.
Do me a favor. Just please step out of the car. That's all we're asking you to do.
Oh, you're asking me now.
Yes.
Conceal your weapons, please.
No.
This is how we treat each other civilly. This is how we act.
No. Just
Yes, we do.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna drive away. I'm not gonna bother anybody.
No, you're
Hands
not.
on the seat.
Don't do this. Don't do it. Don't.
Racism exists.
A young Black man was killed Wednesday by the police as they executed what is called a no-knock warrant. This killing is raising further questions about that particular tactic and police policy more broadly.
Investigation. Police entered the apartment, announced their presence, and approached 22-year-old Amir Locke, who was sleeping under a blanket on a couch. Locke didn't live in the apartment. He was just visiting, and he wasn't even named on the warrant. Some people may want to turn away for about 10 seconds.
As they proceeded toward the back of the apartment, as you saw in the video, there was a couch, and you can see that there's a form under a blanket or a comforter that begins to rise up. The officers were approaching. They were giving commands to show your hands, show your hands. And as they got close, you can see, along with an individual emerging from under the blanket, the barrel of a gun.
I'm not a threat. I don't have a gun. Okay? Don't treat me like I'm a threat. This is what I would call the anatomy of a cover-up. This is unacceptable. I'm sorry, it is.
What the police try to do is make it as if he was cognitive of the environment he was in, and he knowingly pointed the gun at the police. And we can clearly see from the video that he did not awaken until after the officers was up on him and they had already started kicking the couch.
On the first section only. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now that the U.S. government amended its constitution, do you think the lives of Black Americans would finally improve? Not really.
Seems to run headlong into the Second Amendment, which grants the rights of people to have guns to defend themselves. I mean, if the police suddenly appear in your home and you don't realize you're in the middle of a sleep, as it seems to be in this case, I mean, there seems to be a real conflict there.
What he doesn't know is that at this time, a hastily assembled team of narcotics officers is about to raid Taylor's home across town. They suspect her ex-boyfriend keeps cash or drugs there, but their intel is poor. They don't know she has a new boyfriend, and they think she lives alone. When 7 officers begin the raid at 12:40 a.m., they notice the lights are off, except for the flicker of a TV in a bedroom.
The light on the bedroom, the TV. I remember seeing it lit up blue when we pulled up.
Suggesting they know where Taylor is. In less than 3 minutes, she would be fatally shot.
In fact, one gun rights group, the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, released a statement saying that Amir Locke would have done what any gun owner would do in that situation. They said he legally had a gun. He was allowed to have it. He was awoken from what appeared to be a deep sleep. Someone kicked the sofa that he was on. There was confusion, shouting all around him. He grabbed a legal means of defense and assessed the situation. And they say that he had every right to do that. And it's something that any gun owner would have done in a situation like that.
First.
We didn't announce the first couple because our intent was to give her plenty of time to come to the door.
Inside, Taylor wakes up.
So it's a loud bang at the door. She pops up out of sleep. It scared her to death. Me too. Like, who is that?
Banged on the door, no response. Banged on it again, no response. At that point, we started announcing ourselves.
Whether the police announce themselves clearly enough is a critical issue in this story that we'll return to later on. Not knowing who's at the door this late, Walker grabs his licensed handgun.
Like mid-hallway. But as loud as we were screaming to say who it is, I know whoever would be on the other side of the door could hear us.
Outside, some of the police do hear Taylor.
I can hear somebody inside. I kept telling John, I can hear her.
But after knocking and waiting for around 45 seconds, they decided they've given her enough time to respond and rammed the door open.
The last time, I just said, let's just hit it. And that's when we did the police search warrant.
Of course, I don't need to kill anybody, so I just let off one shot.
Mattingly immediately returns fire.
I got 4 rounds off, and it was like boom, 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 boom.
Then all of a sudden, there's a whole lot of shots.
Mattingly fires 2 more rounds when he falls and takes cover. Almost at the same time, Cosgrove moves in and fires, stepping on Mattingly in the process. He has now also put himself in the fatal funnel, and although he's shooting, he appears to have no idea what's happening.
I see blinding, vivid white light and blackness at the same time. I don't hear any gunfire at all, ever. And I did not have any pain, sensation, or any recollection that I'm firing.
He continues shooting blindly until he runs out of ammunition, a total of 16 rounds. In 911 calls immediately after the shooting, Taylor's neighbors don't know police are carrying out a raid.
Please get a police out here. They are shooting bad. Something's going on next door, and there's bullet holes all the way through the wall, through our glass. I have a 5-year-old in here, so something needs to be explained to me.
And in statements police took afterwards, none of Taylor's neighbors heard the officers announce. This apartment's patio door was open.
I was completely unaware that it was cops.
2 teenagers in this apartment heard a commotion, but didn't hear police announce through their open window, their mom said.
They told me that nothing was said, that they just beat on the door. I said, so y'all don't know if it was them? She was like, they didn't say nothing. They just beat on the door.
And the family who lived directly above Taylor also heard nothing.
Before the gunshots come out, did you hear anything?
Conversations or anything like that, people talking.
Enforcing the law and protects people from rash and unreasonable interferences with privacy and unfounded charges of crime. Mere suspicion on the part of the police is insufficient. Law enforcement can establish probable cause through live sworn testimony or by a detailed affidavit describing why a warrant is necessary.
Narcotics officers testified that they didn't know Taylor had a new boyfriend, that her sister lived there, or that her 2-year-old goddaughter regularly stayed. Massey said the department had a history of poor intelligence gathering.
Back in the day, we would take a lot of detective information and take it as golden. Not anymore, because so often there's no kids, there's no dogs, we're told, there's kids and dogs. So we have an exhaustive recon process that we go through. We're not going to rush in to get dope. We're not going to treat human life more important than any amount of dope, right?
And just to be clear, no drugs were ever found at Taylor's.
Let's be clear. First and foremost, they violated Breonna Taylor's 4th Amendment rights by the illegal search and seizure. The brother had a 2nd Amendment right to possess that gun, right? And they violated the law by not notifying or properly notifying who they are before kicking in their door. what is expected to happen when you kick in someone's door in the middle of the night in an area where they're allowed to own firearms? What do you expect to happen? They expect to happen what did happen so that they can do what they did do, which is murder. They have a purpose, and that is to hunt down Black people. We're dealing with a we're dealing with an elongated Holocaust. Yeah, our Holocaust is elongated, and it's fought in multiple ways. We are attacked in multiple ways: economically, politically, socially, mentally, emotionally, physically. Every way possible, Blacks are under attack. They violated the 4th Amendment, the 2nd Amendment. They violated the 11th Amendment, equal protection under the law. Recognize that the Constitution does not apply to Black Americans.
What's up, guys? SKS14 here. We're here with Warren. Hey, Warren, what are we doing today?
Just go out and exercise a rifle with a rifle today.
Right on. Want to tell them a little bit about your YouTube page?
Just for educational purpose, and also find professional, respectful, and constitutional officers in the state of Oregon, and make sure we still keep our rights here pure and simple.
Right on. What's your channel called?
Mark Guardian. Upstairs, I'm audio recording. Audio recording.
I'm audio recording as well. Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Howdy.
No, sir.
No. Why not?
I don't have to.
Okay. Any particular reason why you're carrying the AR, especially around this point?
I'm just exercising my
I understand that, but is there a reason why you're doing it?
Of course.
He pulled out the gun. He's getting down. He's just walking up and carrying.
Fidel Castile, Amar Locke were both denied 14th Amendment rights, equal protection under the law, because they were both murdered for executing their 2nd Amendment rights. If Blacks had constitutional rights, the 14th Amendment, the 4th Amendment, if Black had constitutional rights, the 4th Amendment would have prevented the police from raiding. If Blacks had 4th Amendment rights, that would have prevented the police from getting a warrant to raid Breonna Taylor's house, and she would have still been alive. Also, I have to understand all 3 of them was killed, and the justification for murdering all 3 of them was because they executed, right, their 2nd Amendment. They make no bones about it. The goal is to constantly disarm African Americans so that they continue to mass murder us, and we cannot do nothing about it. This is the objective. They show you repeatedly that there's 2 legal systems. The Constitution does not apply to us. If the Constitution applies to us, those 3 would have still been alive, and we have plenty of examples showing that the Constitution don't apply to us as it does whites. Both times the whites refused to give up identification. The whites did not have to have the whites did not have to prove that the guns was registered or anything.